Hello there, happy new month. Welcome to the month of March. It's a brand new edition of Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyebolise. Of course, as always, we give you nothing but the absolute best when it comes to sports analysis, information, and education. We have a lot in store for you from the top European leagues down to the local scene where Remo stars are clinging on to their top spot position. Of course, the F1 season starts in a couple of weeks. We're going to do a preview and a build-up to the start of the F1 season taking place in Australia. Don't forget, we have a lot of segments on the show, and the biggest of them all is the Tipsters Corner, where we give you some of the most informative betting tips on the Tipsters Corner. It is Sports Pizza, Edwin alongside David Abe in the building. Let's go on a short break. When we return, we set the ball rolling. Welcome back from that short break. It is still Sports Pizza. David, it's a pleasure once again having you on set.
Yeah, Edwin, pleasure to be here as always. But even though I'm not in the best of mood, I mean, we are in March and the season ends in May. Season that started with a lot of expectation for her as an Arsenal fan, and we are here in March, and all these expectations are almost dead and buried. I don't know how I'm going to enjoy the next few months of football, but hey, I'll try to just do my best as a fan and support.
All right, David, I do not envy you too, because Manchester United, we all know what's up with Manchester United, knocked out of the FA Cup by Fulham. We'll get to that. We'll talk about Amorim on the show today, but let's start with the Italian Serie A. Nothing changed at the summit. Inter Milan still top, Napoli in second position, Atalanta in third position. Feels like, hey, nobody wants to take the initiative.
Yeah, Edwin, is looking that way. Both teams, they are expected to be the front runners. They face this weekend, and it seems like they are all fumbling over their dinner. The food is served, and they are unable to actually finish it. We're looking at it's still going to be a 2-horse race, but which one of those teams is going to blink first, we don't know right now.
Talking about initiatives, David, Napoli are 5 games winless in the Italian Serie A. This is the first time it has happened under Conte in Italy, by the way, it must be said. Do you think there are cause for concerns? Because I look at Napoli, the pattern of play is repetitive. They don't have that dynamism. I thought losing Kvaratskhelia dealt a big blow to their title aspiration, especially as he's fundamental in how they attack and how they approach games. He has that X factor. Lukaku has struggled in the last couple of weeks. You get a feeling that Conte is more reliant on physicality, on pace, rather than knitting together different pattern of plays to unsettle opposition. Yeah,
absolutely. I think the period where Napoli are right now, I think everything that could have gone wrong for them is going wrong. When the squad was composed by Conte, I'm sure he would have wanted more when he was trying to build the title-winning squad. Because when you look at this squad, apart from Lukaku, who you can say is a proven winner who won with Inter with Conte, around the squad, there's not much of winners around. The quality is not of the highest level. You're just guys who they're just trying to make up the numbers. And I think this is why their results are beginning to falter.
From Inter Milan's perspective, do you think the Champions League is a distraction for Simone Inzaghi?
I think so. I think if you look at his career at Inter Milan, it has been in two forms. It's either do well in the league and struggle in the Champions League, or do well in the Champions League, the season they got to the final, and then struggle in the league. This season, I think he tried to balance. You can even look at the rotation he was doing.
Yeah.
Back-to-back games, he doesn't name the same starting 11. He was trying to shuffle, and unfortunately for him, it affected their results. Both in the Champions League, they've been doing quite well, but in the league, that affected them a lot.
For Intercity rival Milan, it was yet another loss. This time Lazio at the San Siro. Do you think Sergio Conceição will retain his job come the end of the season? Because it's looking bleak. That Champions League qualification looks bleak for Milan.
Yeah, if the objective is Champions League qualification and the way Conceição is going about it right now, but the problem is, who are they going to bring in to actually salvage it? Because they've tried, Conceição. They've also tried Fonseca, and it's not looking good. So it seems like the quality in that squad, we need to question what has been done over the last year in terms of recruitment, because you look at that squad and it's just names, guys who are not of the highest level, and that's where Milan are unfortunate right now.
So let's take this conversation from Italy to Spain, because I think at the top of the table we have a similar situation. You have Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, and Real Madrid, and it got me thinking, maybe, just maybe, the team who crashes out of the Champions League maybe stands a better chance of winning the league. Do you agree with that line of thought?
Yeah, I think so. And I'm looking at it from especially Atletico Madrid's angle. If they get knocked out by Real Madrid, in the Champions League, it looks like they will be able to have enough in their squad to now push for the league. So for Barcelona, they are also in the Copa del Rey, they are in the Champions League as well. How far they go in the Champions League? Because you look at that Hansi Flick squad, it's not enough to they cannot stretch themselves for multiple competitions on both fronts. So I think whoever gets knocked out first will have enough to channel to the league.
I also think, like you said, Atletico Madrid, they have the squad, but crucially, what a lot of people haven't factored in is that they have a better head-to-head. Now, they've played Real Madrid, home and away, both games, draws. They have a better head-to-head. They won in Barcelona, and they have the second leg at the Wanda. They don't need to win. They need a draw to have a superior head-to-head over Barcelona. And of course, Barcelona and Real Madrid are still to play the second leg. So when you factor all of this, you look at the balance of the squad, you look at the squad depth, you look at the strength of the squad, I think Atletico Madrid have a better chance than Barcelona or Real Madrid.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you completely, because you look at the way they are, and you watch their results, they have the best defense in the league, even though they're not scoring enough goals. But, I mean, they've produced more 1-0 results this season than both of their rivals, so they're able to do enough to cross the line.
All right, let's leave the title challengers and head straight to England, where we saw games from the FA Cup. This weekend, we have Manchester United versus Arsenal. Talking about Manchester United, David, Ruben Amorim, has he made Manchester United worse?
I think so.
Why did you pause?
I'm just trying to remember. I mean, I'm trying to compare him to what Ten Hag did. Is it better or worse than what Ten Hag did? I mean, it's worse. We need to be very honest with ourselves. But I think we need to put context. There are a lot of factors why it's like this. You asked him to work with a squad that he didn't constitute and came in at the middle of the season. So it's very difficult for him at this point in time.
Do you think going into the summer, Ineos will trust him? Okay, guy, we're going to give you £300 million. We're going to give you £200 million. I know the club have been cutting costs. They are trying to trim down the wage bill. The club, according to Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliff, they spent a lot of money on unnecessary stuff, quote and unquote. But then again, it's clear United need major surgery. Do you think Ratcliffe looks at this season, looks at how United have played, looks at the results, and he feels that, okay, we trust this guy, let's give him 300 million pounds?
So I don't think so. I don't think Ineos will give him the required funds to review this squad. Do I think that's what they should do? Yeah, I think that's what they should. They should trust him. But would they trust him? I don't think so. Because generally, when he took over, I put out a caveat that this is not the man who everybody thinks he is going to be the savior of United. Because look at his track record, what he has done, especially with Nice in the French league. So I think for me, Amorim is in a very difficult situation right now. He's going to have to work with the tightest of resources, tightest of budget and everything that is around. So he's going to really need to do a rebuilding job right from within to outside.
Finally, on Amorim, he implied that a couple of this current squad will leave in the summer. Is that a message you want out in this situation, knowing fully well that you need to trust these players, this same set of players, from now to the end of the season?
I don't think it's the right way to have phrased it. I think similar situation happened with Arteta when he got into Arsenal. He talked down on most of those players, and the performance did not come on the field. And when it was time to get them out in the summer, a lot of these players had to get their contracts cancelled because they couldn't get buyers. So you don't devalue, the assets you have right now. You are trying to rebuild a lot of since you know that Ineos are not going to give you a lot of funds, in the transfer market. So I think most of those funds are going to come from what they're able to sell. So devaluing those players right now is not the best.
This weekend, it is Manchester United versus Arsenal at Old Trafford. Two teams struggling to score goals. David, for Arsenal, it's all about consolidating their second position. But Mikel Arteta is insistent that the league title is not over. For Manchester United, hey, we need to get points on board to at least finish in a respectable position. How do you see this playing out?
I think for me, one thing that Arteta has done, which I must still give him credit for, even with all the happenings around, is the fact that defensively Arsenal are still very strong. I mean, you look at where these injuries have happened in their squad, is attacking. Defensively, they are still able to. You still get a team who is structured. They faced Nottingham Forest midweek last week, and then they were able to get a creditable 0-0 draw. So you look at them, they are not a team that you can get at them. You cannot trouble them defensively. But finding it difficult to break teams down. Unfortunately for them, they are going against the Man United team. One statistic that favors them is, Arsenal, they've scored the most goals from set pieces. United have considered the most goals from set pieces. So expect a set piece goal in that game.
All right, expect a set piece goals in that game. David just probably give us the tips for the Tipsters corner. It's time for the start words, David. What do you have for us?
Yeah, absolutely. For Salah, everybody knows what he has done this season, but there are so many numbers that can be thrown out. But one number that really stuck out at me was the fact that this season he has, had open play passes in the final third of the opposition 547 times. That means in the final third, he has had the most passes. That's somebody who has decided that in the final third, I'm going to be the man to make things happen. Fantastic one for him. Also for Caicedo and Chelsea. I mean, everybody talks about how bad Chelsea have been, but Caicedo is probably one of the shining lights they've had in the season where Palmer has struggled. He has completed, the distance his pass has completed this season, 24,843 meters. So he's somebody who spreads the ball around. Also in that same vein, he has, won the ball back 157 times. So this is somebody who still tries to put his weight around for Chelsea. For Marcus Rashford, his time at Aston Villa started very well. In their game against Cardiff in the FA Cup, their victory, he created 6 chances. That's equal to the most he ever created for Manchester United in 426 games. He has taken probably 6+ games to do it at Aston Villa. So the thing is, there's highs for him, but how consistent can those highs be? That's the real problem for him. That's
the question for Marcus Rashford as he looks to maybe engineer a permanent move to Aston Villa from his boy club, Manchester United. Let's go on a short break. When we return, there's more on the other side. Don't change the channel. It is Sports Pizza with Edwin and David. Welcome back. This is the second half of the show, Sports Pizza. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms. The handles are showing on your screen. David, straight up to the world of tennis, the Dubai Tennis Championship. Yeah. Finally, Stefanos Tsitsipas at the 12th attempt landed his first ATP 500 title, defeating Felix Auger-Aliassime in the final. Yeah,
absolutely. I think for Stefanos Tsitsipas, his career has been what could have been. There have been so many highs, but those highs have not actually reached the expectations people have of him. But he's a great player on his day and fantastic performance. I think one thing about this early season, ATP 1000, 500, you usually see this on fancy players get into because the big guys are not yet into the pace of this season. So I think for me, it's fantastic performance. How he's going to build on for the rest of this season, because I expect maybe this season to be a season for him where he'll be able to consolidate.
And in Mexico, Acapulco, precisely, Czech player Thomas Machak claimed his first ATP Tour title with a victory in the Mexican Open. The Czech player becomes the third from his country to win ATP 500 title, following Thomas Berdych and Radek Stepanek. All right, away from that, David, let's come home. And this time it is the MPFL. Remo Stars kept it late, but finally found a way. And I know we're sounding like a broken record, but they are edging closer to a historic Premier League title, the first in the history of the club. Their grit, their resilience, the quality, the togetherness, and of course, the manager has given us a blueprint into how a proper football club should be and can be run. Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, this portion of this is where they will get results like this, where they just need to get. They've shown us different sides of their season. They've been very good, played some exciting football. They've created, they've scored goals. Now they need to just grind down and just a procession to the title. I think for me, what is fundamental is their other title rivals are also beginning to drop points. So the gap is becoming bigger. As long as it remains big or it keeps shrinking, it doesn't shrink to a point where they completely bottle. I think they'll do enough to win the title. What should be the next direction for Remo Stars? Concentrate on dominating the local scene or try and unruffle feathers on the continent? I think for me, what will be the next step for them is try to consolidate on the MPFL. Try to ensure that this is not just a fluke, a one-time thing. They should build something sustainable. Because going on the continent right now is still a very big target for them. What is on the continent is quite bigger than what they have right now. So they need to just keep on the title, become consistent, and get to the continent and be good. Talking about continents, Nigerian players abroad, what do you have for us? Yeah, a couple of our players, shown like a million stars this weekend as usual. The biggest name, Victor Osimhen. I mean, what more can be said about that man? His time in Turkey is beginning to tick.
scored the 16th goal for Galatasaray, even though it was a 3-3 draw. But I think they'll do enough to win the title. It was 3-3 against Kayserispor. He scored the 16th goal. He scored a brace for them. Fantastic one for the Nigerian striker. Also for Calvin Bassey, I think it's good that he's now becoming a regular goal scorer. He got the opener for them in their victory, their fantastic victory over Manchester United in the FA Cup. It was on penalties, but fantastic one for them. Also for a player who I really like so much, who I think has a bright future in the Super Eagles, for Bruno Onyemaechi. I think that left back position should be his. If you don't know, he moved from Boa Vista in Portugal to Olympiacos in Greece, and he got his first assist for them in their 1-0 victory over AEK Athens in a title, decided over the course of the weekend. Fantastic one for these players who shown like a million stars. All
right, that is Nigerian players doing great stuff abroad. Don't forget, on the 18th of March, the Super Eagles of Nigeria have a must-win game against Rwanda. We're looking forward to see all of these guys represent Nigeria, and of course, inject life back into our failing World Cup aspirations. Still with the Super Eagles, David, any idea on what team we should expect from Eric Chell?
I think for me, what is coming into the Super Eagles at a time where it's very, very crucial. Unfortunately for him, he has not had games to actually prepare or put out it, so we don't have a semblance of what it's going to be about. And also, unfortunately for him, a lot of these key players are also injured. Some of them are going to be unavailable at a time like this. So I think for me, we might expect a few new injections, but I'm not certain of those names who they're going to be. I think for someone like Gabriel Osho, maybe we get another chance in central defense as well. So we're just looking forward to what he's going to deliver for us.
All right, we're looking forward to what he will serve us on the 18th of March. It is Nigeria versus Rwanda. We got heartbreak in 2022. No more heartbreaks for 2026. That is the message to Eric Chell and his boys. At this point, we go on another break. This time it is a video for the week. Do enjoy it. When we return, we'll wrap up the show with the Tipsters Corner. My producer has no love for me. He knows I'm a Manchester United fan, and he decided to go with the loss in the FA Cup.
I mean, what more can be said about it? It's really sad at a time like this for Manchester United, but hey, next season is always there.
I'm optimistic, I'm hopeful. Amorim ball will click. David, let's go to the Tipsters Corner. What should we expect this weekend? What should punters expect this weekend?
So I first went to Italy. There are two big games in Italian Serie A this weekend. First, there's Juventus versus Atalanta. Fantastic game. I think it has the makings of a draw because both teams look like Atalanta have hit a spate of draws right now over the last 2 or 3 games. Juventus are the draw specialists of Serie A. So if you're looking for a good result market, I think the straight draw, it looks very difficult, but I think it's the most likely outcome in this game. But if you want to be safer, you can go for Juventus 1x because they are home, so it's going to be very difficult to beat them at home. For the goals market, I think both teams to score. Juventus have found goals now. Atalanta will always give you goals, so both teams to score over 1.5. I think in all their last 5 fixtures, there's been over 1.5 produced. So over 1.5, both teams to score. A draw market if you want to be very risky, but Juventus 1x as well.
All right, other games?
The other big one is Napoli versus Fiorentina. I mean, Napoli have found a way to become draw specialists as well. So a 1x for them at the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona is looking very like Fiorentina has not been the best of form. In the last 5, they've been unable to win. So I think for me, 1x for Napoli. For the goals markets, I mean, Napoli are very, very, very tricky. But I think Napoli to score, at least, they will get a goal in that game. I'm not sure what Fiorentina will do. Then for the over-under, I think over 1.5 goals, maybe Napoli 2-0 victory in that one for me. And finally in England, this game holds a lot of emotions for me, but I decided to put my emotions aside in this one because we're talking business here. So Manchester United versus Arsenal at Old Trafford. I mean, Arsenal are somehow they are marginal favourites in this game. I think they are looking at a 1-0 victory for Arsenal in this one. It looks the most likely outcome.
You can and put it's reflective in the bookies.
In the bookies, it's the most likely outcome, 1-0 for Arsenal. I mentioned earlier a set-piece goal. It looks very like that's the only way Arsenal have found a way to score goals this season. I think for the results market, it's X2 for Arsenal. I think it's the safest and the smartest market at this point in time. I think Arsenal are unbeaten against United. Apart from the FA Cup, result, which was a draw if you're looking at the context of 90 minutes. So it's Arsenal to win or draw in that game. For the goals market, I think under 2.5 is the safest bet because both teams have produced under 2.5 goals in 2 of their last 5 fixtures. So it looks like under 2.5 is the safest market. Both teams to score, I would say both teams to score, no. I think Manchester United will not be able to score in this result.
All right, it looks grim for Manchester United, but hey, that is what the market is saying. You look at the statistics, you look at the head-to-head, you look at the raw data.
Yeah.
It feels like it could be an Arsenal win. And this is where we drop anchor on today's edition of Sports Pizza. I'm sure you enjoyed every beat, every action on today's episode. We'll be back same time next week. It's always a pleasure doing this with you, David.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you for being around.
I mean, Edwin, the pleasure is always mine. Great to do this with you. From Abe David, it's goodbye.
And from me, Edwin Onyebole, say have a fantastic sporting weekend. See you. God bless you.